It's great to see another U-Series mini PC out in the wild, and this one is from Minisforum. The U-Series processors have a lower power draw, making them easier to cool, yet can still provide impressive performance per watt. The Minisforum UM750L is another one in the Slim series, and uses a similar plastic shell with the same build quality as we've seen with the other models. Which is to say, overall pretty good and mostly solid apart from the lower lid, which I call the Flex Master. The UM750L's coolest feature is the Ryzen 5 7545U, which we haven't seen before. It's a newer 6-core 12-thread Zen 4 chip with AMD's Radeon 740M graphics, which, thankfully, uses the much newer RDNA 3 architecture. This mini comes in at $311 for the 16GB RAM model and 1TB SSD. That's above the $250 cutoff limit for budget mini PCs I've set, so it's going to be compared against minis above $250. Included with the UM750L is a couple of spare rubber feet, 19V 65W power supply, HDMI cable, and VESA mount. The front has two USB 3 10GB ports, along with a 3.5mm audio jack and clear CMOS hole. Minisforum has included a MediaTek Wi-Fi 6E for wireless and Bluetooth. The back has a Realtek 2.5GB LAN jack, HDMI 2.1 FRL, USB 4 40GB which supports power and display. There's also DisplayPort 1.4 and USB 2. Opening the UM750L is a pain in the ass, same as all the Slim series. 4 glued on rubber feet to rip off before you have access to the 4 screws, and then you still need a prying tool to get the lid off. Simply put, it should be easier than this. The Mini uses soldered LPDDR5 6400, which leaves no room for upgradability or replacement. And there are dual M.2 Gen 4 X4 NVMe slots, as well as an M.2 wireless card. Thermal pads and a fan keep the underside cool. Windows 11 Pro is included and is malware free. Ubuntu works okay, apart from wireless and Bluetooth. Alright, so the UM750L is one of the cheaper minis in the following benchmark lists, so keep that in mind. Its single-core Cinebench performance is very good, punching far above its price tag, and is the fastest AMD U-Series Mini tested so far. You can see the previous architecture languishing far behind. This Mini may have just 6 cores, but the 7545U almost matches the previous gen 5825U, which has an additional 2 cores and 4 threads. Another strong showing in Geekbench single core, around smack bang middle of the chart. Not as impressive in Geekbench multicore, although it beats the 5825U comfortably. H.264 video encoding was a nice surprise. I didn't expect the Minisforum unit to do this well. It's a winner out of the U-Series in this chart. The much longer AV1 encoding test shows that cooling holds up even when under load for almost 15 minutes. Again, it beats the 5825U. This newer Ryzen chip supports AV1 hardware encoding, which offloads work to the integrated graphics and cuts down the encoding of the same file by a huge amount. That being said, it is in last place against the other minis in this chart. The 7545U also impresses in AI CPU workloads, landing in the middle of the chart. Switching to AI GPU, and again it impresses. The Radeon 740M beats any of the Vega graphics chips found in the previous generation. It almost matches Intel's 150U in Firestrike, and surpasses it in the TimeSpy benchmark. It also comes out ahead in Steel Nomad Lite, which has the most modern graphics feature set. The Radeon 740M completely dominates the U-Series processors. So even for a Ryzen 5 U-Series processor, it has pretty impressive performance all around. This isn't really the mini PC you'd buy to game on, but let's try a few titles. Some esports games run pretty well. AAA games are mostly a struggle without any upscaling at 1080p low. The 7545U handles the top emulators pretty well at 1080p. Some PS3 games might need a drop in resolution to native 720p. The 40GB USB 4 port allows a bunch of different devices to be connected. I'm testing my eGPU with an RTX 4070 Super, and it works fine. Alright, slowly but surely we add more useful benchmarks, and this time it's how long it takes to compile the Linux kernel using the Phoronix test suite. Thanks to my good buddy Nick from Gear Seekers for helping me put this one together. Just one result, so it's not useful right now, but it'll be populated quickly soon enough. The Adobe Photoshop benchmark shows the 7545U isn't as impressive as in the other workloads. The 8-core Ryzen 5825U comes out ahead. Adobe Premiere, on the other hand, is an easy win for the 7545U, and 4K video projects should be a pretty decent experience. 3D Mark's storage benchmark found this 1TB Kingston drive to be below average in speed, and it even gets beaten by some Gen 3 drives in common workloads. The SSD didn't get hot at all while being thrashed in the mini PC. It had one of the lowest temps recorded. Bluetooth range was disappointing at just 3.2 meters or 10.5 feet for uninterrupted music playback. Luckily, wireless range was good and I had no issues using the 5G band at 12 meters or 39 feet from the router. The Minisforum unit impresses with idle power draw. Just 6 watts like the Geekom A6 with its Ryzen U series processor. Maximum power draw reached almost 70 watts, same as the Mini with the 5825U, which is a lot more than the Geekom A5 we compared against. Cooling isn't impressive with this low power chip still peaking at 91C, however, fan noise is below average under load, which is nice. Although other U series Minis did even better. Personally, I was hoping for less fan noise. Minisforum's UM750L is pretty big for a U-series mini PC. Mashing the delete key on startup gets you into the BIOS. In advanced ACPI setting, you'll find Wake on LAN. Hardware monitor doesn't allow you to change the fan curve. AMD CBS NBIO common options, GFX configuration lets you change the VRAM size. FCH common options has the AC power loss option, and SMU common options is where you can lower the power limit if needed. Alright, another notch on the old belt. Let's go over the pros and cons. The Minisforum UM750L has a new generation AMD Ryzen U series processor which has good performance, while also providing more modern features such as dual Gen 4 NVMe slots and AV1 hardware encoding. Also happy to see USB 4 included with this Mini, and the cooling for the RAM and SSD works great. The UM750L uses fast LPDDR5 6400 memory, but unfortunately it's soldered, so no upgrading or replacing it. While fan noise isn't bad, I like it to be lower, and Bluetooth range is a bit short for my liking. Overall, a pretty nice mini PC. At this price point, it's pretty unique, as the other Ryzen U series minis we've looked at are usually cheaper, but with less storage and performance. So this is a good option for those not needing the most powerful, while still wanting modern features and speedy single-core CPU performance at a decent price. But if you do want something more powerful that's very similar, check out my review of the Minisforum UM870 right here, which also provides good bang for buck. Cheers!